Howdy, we're going to do a short tutorial video on how to use the map corrections feature in the newest version of SonarWiz 5. That's 5.06.055. If you've ever worked with sonograms before and sidescan sonar data, you know that positioning it can be kind of difficult at times. You can have several lines where you'll see a feature like this pipeline, and it'll show up in one place on one line and somewhere different on the next line or on an overlapping line. And that's usually got to do with laybacking. But anyway, there's a number of ways you can fix this, but one of the newest, easiest, and best ways that I've found is this new map corrections feature that Chesapeake Technology put in. If you have, say, a couple of lines, and say we didn't have, this is a multi-beam backdrop here, but say we didn't have that luxury, it was gone. And all we had were these three lines, side scan data, and we were trying to figure out where to position this pipeline for charting. See, nothing back underneath it. But if you had a few of these, figure, okay, so there's a couple different places it could be, here or there. One of the things you can do is go into the map corrections here, and I'm going to add one. This is a whole dialog box here, but basically, see, we have these two showing. What we're going to want to do is actually just turn one line on and pick a point on it, probably right down here. But we'll go ahead and zoom in on this a little more. Pick right where those two come together on that line there. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing on this other line here. And we'll do the same thing on this third line. And then we'll go up here to where these pipelines come back together. Make sure you leave this correct boxes unchecked so it doesn't shift it before you pick the next point to shift as well. So there's another spot where they come back together, and we'll go ahead and make a new map correction base point and add a new point. And then now that we've got those points picked, what we'll do is go ahead and show all three of those lines and correct them. So what that's done is shift all these to be back in a more likely position. Make them all agree. And since they've been shifted, what we can do is go ahead and make them not show up anymore, but they'll stay in the same position. See, they match up quite a bit better there now. Actually go ahead and just turn these off. Look at that. So that's what you do if all you have is side scan data, is shift them all to make the positions match up. But if you have the luxury of having a more accurately positioned data set like multi-beam, which is usually surface position, usually a pretty safe bet that it's accurate to within 20-30 centimeters depending on water depth and surface navigation systems and all that. But in any case, if you do have that luxury, what we would do is to go ahead and turn that base map on. If you know how to bring one of those in. If you don't, hit the F1 button anywhere in SonarWiz. They've done a great job with the help instructions. Pretty much anything you need to figure out you can do in there. But in any case, what we'll do is go ahead and uncorrect those. So now they're going to go back to their original positions where the navigation puts them as you bring them in. And we'll actually just go ahead and delete these correction points and start from scratch. What we're going to do is turn off all the side scan here use the multi-beam to pick out a good spot. So we'll go ahead and start new map correction. Add a point to it. And see how it's got this blue pin as opposed to the green ones we just saw? That means it's referencing a base map surface. So in this case, the multi-beam. So we'll go ahead and add one of these. You can see where the pipelines come together on that one. Put that in. Turn that guy off. Turn on another one. See, this one doesn't have very far to go. And get our third. And this is going to be a little bit trickier. Zoom in on it. And we'll add that. Alright, so that's one point. Remember, you don't want to correct them just yet. So we're going to go ahead and add the other junction of those pipelines there. So we've got this active, this new map correction we're about to put in. We'll add a point and put it right here in the junction of those pipelines in the multibeam. Again, little blue icon means it's tying it back to the georeference multibeam. And we'll put a shift point on this CSF. Do the same thing on the next one. And the next. So you can see we've got two different map corrections, each of them referencing 3 different CSFs to a point on the base map. Once we have all those in, what we'll do is go ahead and show all these and have it run the correction. So now it's displaying the corrected CSFs, or the positionally corrected CSFs, and we'll go ahead and turn these off so you don't have to look at them anymore since we're done with them for the moment. And look at that. These lines each agree with one another now. You can see these features show up in all of them. See the little pothole, pockmark in the same spot. And finally, if you want to see how it ties in with the multibeam, there you are. So you can see you can add another point there and improve upon that, make that pockmark show up a little bit better. But the beauty of this is you can do it to as many points as you want with as many side scan lines as you want, and it'll correct the position for you. That's all we got so far, and thanks for tuning in.